You know, it's proof positive the chair drop goes with any song, doesn't it? What? Everybody okay? Big Monday. We got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to start with the NFL. We'll get to the Michigan stuff later because
as you said, when you say it out loud, it just really sounds weird.
It just starts to become a parody. Big weekend of NFL football. I think a bye week's an opportunity not only for a team to recharge, but for fans to actually put their head out of the sand and look around a little bit. Start to watch other teams. And the NFL did a real good job scheduling yesterday where prime game in every day part. 9:30, you had Chiefs and Dolphins. 1 o'clock, you had Ravens and Seahawks. 4 o'clock, you had Cowboys and Eagles. And the night tilt, Bills-Bengals. Why is that relevant here in Detroit? It's relevant because that's an 8-team sample size. And in the National Football League, generally speaking, there's 8 to 10 teams we care about. 8 to 10 teams that will be remote threats to do something. And you didn't play. So I wanted to ask a question. It was part of our little show soiree before we take the air, which is, after watching football this weekend, I'm not saying you don't watch every week, but I'm just using the bye week as an example. After watching football, do you believe this team can make a Super Bowl run? Or do you start to see the differences and that maybe you're just a division winner, maybe you just win a game, but you are not on the level of Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, etc. And if you're going to bring up, but we beat the Chiefs, guys, you sound like Jim Costa. Jim does this whole deal that, like, if Pepperdine upsets Duke, Pepperdine's better than Duke. No, they're not. It was on one night the 1 in 100 shot took place.
See, I wish you would have told me that because we got into that pointless discussion on Friday.
You can't win with him.
And I was like, are we really doing this?
Like, he still won't admit that Oklahoma's not as good as Texas because, well, they play. It was a freaky game. I digress. I want to ask the people. I watched every day part yesterday, and it was great because you didn't need any red zone, Scott Hansen free day, and you watched the games, and you go, you know what? They're not ready for that. Mm-mm. I really like this team. I think this team's really good. And I think they will win this division, and I do think they will win a playoff game. But I think that's where it ends. And no, it's not bitter beer face because we didn't make a trade at the deadline. Do I think it matters? Yes, I do. I mean, look, Seattle made a trade. They got blown out. I'm not telling you it's that one thing. But I want to know as Lions fans. Now, if you're telling me, Mike, we hit the pumpkin patch. We didn't watch games. We went to an estate sale. I don't know what to tell you. But if you watch the games, do you walk away believing you are amongst the elite?
You know, it's funny.
248-539-9797.
No, it's funny because you may have stumbled upon something because the only thing I can guarantee is that this team will win the division and they'll get a home playoff game. And then after that, I don't know. Because if you have to play a home playoff game against Seattle again, what makes me think things will be different this time around?
Because this will be the game that Geno Smith turns into a pumpkin.
Okay.
He kind of has post-Lions game, if you look at the numbers, full pumpkin mode.
Right. He did the same thing last year, full pumpkin mode.
We are dealing with right now.
Right. If you had to play the Cowboys at home, I don't know. So
this weekend shook you.
It did. This weekend, I watched and I said, this team's not ready. I guarantee they'll win the division because that thing will be over by Thanksgiving, probably December.
But I'm not taking
I can't believe Minnesota's still winning.
Listen,
I still don't understand how that happened.
Atlanta is a dumpster fire. It's fleeting.
Did they know that they drafted Bijan? I just don't know if Arthur knows if he drafted him or not.
I know. 248-539-9797. 97-97. David, did this weekend alter your Lions perspective at all?
Yeah, it definitely did. I'm with Rico. They are a division winner, but they remind me of last year's Minnesota Vikings division winner right now. Things could change, but as of right now, I just don't see them being that team that's going to maybe even win a playoff game. Of course, matchups matter. We'll get that later on, but right now, I can't say for sure they'll win a playoff game.
I think the thing that bothers me is they seem to be awfully comfortable with, quote, their guys. Let me give you an example. Last night, the Bills need help up front. They signed a guy I'm very familiar with, and you guys might be too, because he played for the Vikings and the Giants, a guy named Linval Joseph. Shout out ECU. Linval is like a fence post. You can't move him. He's just an occupier. But he was on the couch. Anyone could have signed him. They did. They made a big play last night. Now, they lost the game. I'm making a point. Does having Linval Joseph help me more than not having him? Well, I would say yes. I brought up the Ndamukong Suh stuff. I brought up if you had made a depth trade. I think what bothers me is they have ignored all of it. And it's that very insular, smartest guy in the room. We like our guys. And that's great. I want you to. But does that mean no one else gets invited to the party?
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
No, it does. It seems like it's all about the family. That they only want their people there, and outsiders are deemed to be outsiders. And
by the way, I'm only doing this. I don't want to sidetrack us, but I have to get your opinion on this. Did you see the video with audio of Nick Saban talking to the LSU player who transferred?
Yeah.
You want to know that Saban's got a set of brass ones?
Yeah.
Dead quote to the kid who comes up to him. You know you'd be playing here more than you're playing there. Close quote. Yeah. Woo! Get that man a coffee and some Little Debbie cakes.
You know what? Mistakes were made.
Oh, man.
Kid is like, mistakes were made, Coach. I understand.
My bad. I just would like to know. You got to see the Chiefs and Dolphins. And listen, I think those conversations, not that Miami has sports radio, but like you have to have that conversation about Miami, 6-0 against teams under 500, 0-3 against teams over. You're having a conversation there.
Yeah.
I think you're having a conversation in Seattle today, and you're going, when we win, it's ugly, and we're showing some cracks here. We're showing some fault lines at the quarterback position. It's okay. Now, Dallas, they're going to have this conversation until the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. They blew that game yesterday in the way that they always do.
But see, and maybe that's why that game felt like a playoff game, because in the end, Dallas finds ways to lose playoff games like nobody's business. Like, you literally got on a fourth down play and you threw it to the 1-inch line instead of scoring a touchdown. And that was the difference.
Big yikes. Last night's game. I mean, obviously, I don't believe Buffalo is what they're sold to be. Injuries have done that. I also think Josh Allen's a bit of a moron.
Buffalo may be the NFL equivalent to Clemson.
Do you know what Buffalo is? Well, hold on. You mean the very Clemson I told you was going to win this weekend?
You did.
Dabo's back. I'm kidding. Do you know what Buffalo is? And Cookie's got mad at me when we were recording the pod.
On line 3.
Tyler from Spartansburg. I comped the Buffalo Bills to something from your and I's youth. Well, you were probably 21 by this point. I was young. I think Josh Allen and the Bills are Dan Marino and the Dolphins. I think they're just a happy action fun time team that's never going to win a GD thing. And the quarterback is above reproach, but the reality is the quarterback's part of the problem.
Except so far, Dan Marino made one more Super Bowl than Josh.
And I know he didn't. You could argue that 13-second thing that happened in Kansas City will never happen in football again. Did they?
But it did.
Okay.
And just like trouble with the snap probably will never happen again. But you know what? That day, it did.
The chair drop works in almost any. David, how was your weekend? Kenny, the Wings winning tomorrow? Rico, how was the hug from Harlan? It worked. Doesn't matter where, it works. Hey, how's the weather? with a high of 53.
Yeah. How'd the horse racing go?
How'd that late pick 5 on Saturday go? Had 4 or 5 legs, and I got beat by a horse I hated. I wanted to take a chair to the horse. All right. We're off and rolling on a Monday. Did this weekend's premium games alter your thoughts on your Lions? You don't have to say yes. You don't have to say no. It's just an honest question out of the bye week. 248-539-9797. Your calls are next. Hungry Howie's. Now, see, this has got Kenny Tuesday night written all over it. Hungry Howie's, Kenny with the NHL Network, and then Kenny doing what Kenny does.